Alright, welcome back to another one. Today we're going to be replacing the clutch on the GT73. Well, let's not waste any time, let's get right into it. Alright, so to start, I'm just going to start off with a couple things, like bare minimum things that you will need. You don't need a drill, but you do need Allens and a screwdriver. You definitely need zip ties, preferably some bigger ones, but that's all I had. Your battery keys, some sort of puller to get the actual clutch out, some snips or scissors, and then some bowls to keep the bolts all organized, and then a bucket or like just a bike stand to get the rear tire off the ground. Oh, and you need a wrench. Alright, so for taking out the batteries, you're gonna need to unlock here and here. You stick the key in. You gotta make sure it's the right key. And then two. And then once you unlock them, you're gonna kind of grab from the bottom and push out. And it should slide out. I used to have a lot of problems with taking them out, but now they just slide out good. Alright, so for taking off the seat, it's not going to look this chaotic because I have underglow. There's going to be 5 bolts. One right here, 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 and then one up front. And then the seat should just slide off. Right there is where the last bolt is. So it's the top battery right there. And so now that you've undone all of those bolts, the seat should just come right off. Alright, now that you've taken the seat off, you'll see the controller and some wires. The one you're looking for is blue, green, yellow, and then this one that has a bunch coming out of it. You just want to take those off. So just like that, they all come apart. This one you have to push down right here and squeeze right here, and then that comes off too. And once you got all of those, you're going to go through all of these zip ties, and this is the motor wire. So you want to get that off now. So you want to follow it and snip all of these zip ties that are on it. Alright, once you snipped every single one of those zip ties, you're going to want to route the wire back through. Okay, once you got this wire out, this is the wire to the motor, just set it aside. We're gonna loosen the chain and take off the rear tire now. Alrighty, so on the rear wheel, you're gonna use your wrench and your Allens to take these 2 bolts off. It's the same on the other side. Alright, so now you got all the bolts and brackets off from the rear wheel. We're gonna take off the rear brake. Very easy, it's just these 2 little bolts right there and right there. Once you got those 2 bolts off, the caliper will just come off. You can just put it right here. Make sure you do not press the back brake, or else you'll have to open up the calipers again, and that would just kind of suck. Okay, so then once you got the rear caliper off and both of the brackets, the rear wheel should become pretty loose and you'll be able to slide it. If it doesn't immediately become loose, just hit the back and that'll loosen it up. It might like be a little stuck. That's what happened to me. And then you want to take the chain off, so push the tire all the way forward. And if it doesn't just come off immediately, you want to come over here, loosen this part. That'll just pop off. It'll come off right here. And then just put the chain right there and loop this back through. Once you got the chain off and the throttle cable isn't hooked onto anything, you're going to go ahead and pull the tire out, but make sure the front wheel is on the ground already, or else the bike will fall forward. So then it's pretty simple. Really just pull it out. Alright, now that you've got your rear wheel off, we're going to take the motor out. It's these screws along the edge that we need to take out. Alright, so once you've unscrewed all the bolts, the motor will kind of come up. Take this little spacer out, put that aside, and then the motor will just come right out. Once you've taken the motor out, you're going to come look inside the well that it sits in, because if you have the same problem with me, the gears broke, and I found a lot of extra pieces in here, so you want to fully clean this out. like with a cloth or something, and get all the stuff out of there before you put the motor back in. Alrighty, so now you're gonna want to take your motor and you're gonna put it somewhere where it won't easily slip and slide. And you're gonna grab your puller. If you have this, great. But you could use just a normal hammer. This motor is pretty hard to get going, so you are going to have to use a good amount of force. And then once you're done, it'll just come on out, and you got your clutch. Okie dokie. Once you got your clutch fully out, you want to make sure that there are no loose particles like any plastic from your old clutch. And then you're just going to slip this back on, make sure the key is aligned with that little hole in there. Make sure the washer's on top. And that is just going to slide on. You got to make sure it's fully aligned though. It might be a little hard. Make sure it's aligned. Put the washer back on. Alright, so before you do anything else, before you fully put it back on, you want to put some high temp lube in it. Mine already has a good amount on it, so I'm not going to apply any more because it doesn't need it. But you could just put it in between, and then once you're done with that, just grab a rubber mallet and just start pushing it on. As I was taking it off, putting it on can also be a little bit hard, but as you're going, just make sure it can spin nicely and it doesn't sound weird, and then you can continue. It's just better to check instead of putting the entire thing back on than having to take it off. So once it's fully down, it will be decently flush. So this is fully in. Again, make sure it spins perfectly good. Alright, once you got your motor, there should be a washer right here. You can take it off, and for easier installation, you just put it already down into the well. Alright, and then once all that's good, you just go ahead and drop your motor right in. And then you're going to want to twist it around a little bit so you can find it sitting. Okay, once you got your wheel positioned up, make sure that the holes are aligned with the screw holes. Take your screws, put them in there. And when you tighten them, you want them to be tightened in a star pattern. So top, side, side, boom, boom, boom. Alright, once you got all the screws in, just lightly, you can go in them with a drill, but just make sure that you actually torque them down with an actual screwdriver, or else you don't want to overdo it with the drill. Alright, so the sound corrupted on this file, but what you're going to do, you need to make sure that this little spacer is facing outwards and it's on both sides. Then you're going to slip the tire back on, slip the bolt on, the other two bolts, tighten them down, and then pull the tire back. Make sure that it's nice and tight. Make sure it's nice and tight on both sides. And then you're gonna want to tighten the Allen and hold it back with like a screwdriver or something, just so it's wedged back and it's fully tight. And then tighten both bolts. Repeat the same thing on the other side. Make sure that the tire is centered and all lined up. You can measure on both sides too. And if you spin it, it spins freely. Now that you got your rear tire on, you're going to install the brake. Just line it up with the actual rotor. Slot the mounts. and then get them nice and tight. Test that it spins nice. Good. Perfect. Alrighty, now that you've gotten your rear tire on and your chain is nice and tight, before you do anything, before you put a single zip tie on it, you want to test it. The first time I changed it, I tested it and it didn't work, and I had to go through the entire thing, and I had to undo all the zip ties, had to undo the seat, and it just sucked. So just plug all these back in. Once you got all of those plugged in, you don't have to worry about these guys that are out. You're gonna put a battery back in, turn it on, and test it. Alright, now that everything's plugged in, the bike's on, everything's working good, give her a little throttle just to start. Make sure nothing's making any weird noise. And if that's good, test the brake. Brake works good. Okay, now we're gonna turn the bike fully off, take the battery out, then unplug everything and route the cable. Alright, now that you've gotten everything all good, wires are all good, you pushed all these wires in, they're nice and good. Kind of push them down, make sure nothing's loose. You don't have to worry about these guys. Yeah, make sure nothing's covering, like this little wire. I need to make sure that's not covering. Anything that's a little floaty, it'll be fine because it'll get pushed down, but make sure nothing's covering the edges. Looks pretty good. Go ahead, grab your seat. Put it on right here. Sure the wheel is straight. Should be even with both sides. Now, after all of that, put your batteries in. And with that, you successfully replaced your clutch on your GT73.